Jihaad Campbell.
And rush, Beck surveys, throws it right to Alabama. It's picked up by Jihaad Campbell.
Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith?
Dog.
I'm so happy to see his transition to being a real guy complete, and he completes it. I mean, I think now we can say he's arrived.
Andrew Mukuba.
Dogs 12 yards away from the win. Stockton running all the way up the middle. Gunner Stockton.
Cooper DeJean. Quinyon Mitchell.
Let's hand out some hardware. It's time for my LFG awards. There were so many great rookies this year on the defensive side of the ball, but my defensive rookie of the year goes to Eagles cornerback Quinyon Mitchell.
The new era of Eagles dominance is here. They've already got a ring in the bank, and despite some veteran departures, this is a team set up for plenty more.
I think that you can see impact players throughout this entire draft class, and the kind of bets that were made later in the draft, you look at and you go, damn, Philly's got a chance to develop these dudes into some studs with the coaching staff that they have and their track record over the last couple of years.
Howie Roseman is the undisputed king of the offseason, and another tidy draft in 2020-25 has got his boys set up for success. There's no doubt about it. The Philadelphia Eagles are terrifying. Heading into the 2025 offseason, there was only one side of the ball that needed Howie Roseman's attention: the defense. Mekhi Becton is the only player of note to leave on offense. And, of course, Howie Roseman has already got a replacement lined up in the form of 2023 third-rounder Tyler Steen. We already know how terrifying this offensive unit is, so we'll come back to them later. First, we need to talk about just how terrifying this offseason's defensive additions have been for Philly. To kick things off, let's take a look at Jihaad Campbell. It's become cliche to praise Howie Roseman for winning free agency or the draft, but it's undeniable. He has an outrageous hit rate that has brought in DeVonta Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean over recent years. And his 2025 class is shaping up to be another slam dunk, primarily because of Jihaad Campbell. A brilliant selection with the 31st pick, offering insane value and upside. Daniel Jeremiah had Campbell listed as his 12th overall prospect, and PFF had him listed 13th on their big board. Yet, he falls all the way to 31. To who else but Howie Roseman? By all accounts, Philly just snapped up one of the best talents in the NFL draft, almost 20 spots below where most of the sharpest NFL analysts had him ranked. Now, the reason he was available at pick 31 is because teams were concerned about a labrum tear that had required surgery, putting some element of doubt over when he would be available. Yet, he is already out there at training camp, proving a menace for his new teammates. And if Philly fans want to get an insight into the work ethic of their new defender, here's some footage posted by Brett Coleman at the NFL Combine of Campbell staying behind to run pass rush drills after the rest of the linebackers had left. As you can tell by those videos, Campbell is explosive as hell. He led all linebackers at the Combine in shuffle sprint and wave drills, also running the 40-yard dash in 4.52 seconds. He does that at 6'3", 235 pounds, which does not bode well for anyone having to go up against him. Campbell can rush the passer, drop into coverage, and deliver crushing blows, making him easily the most dangerous and versatile linebacker in the draft. Frankly, the idea of him lining up alongside Zach Bond is terrifying. That pairing might well be the best linebacker duo in the entire NFL by the end of the 2025 season. Campbell has all the makings of a three-down menace, while Bond has already proven himself as one of the best free agent signings of all time. Nobody raised an eyebrow when Bond was signed to a one-year, $4 million deal in the 2024 offseason. But you bet they noticed when he delivered a team-leading 151 tackles, 11 of which were for loss. Add in 3.5 sacks and an interception, and you get a first-team All-Pro, who has now cashed in with a 3-year, $51 million contract this offseason. Jihaad will be needed early and often this season, as it will be some time before Nakobe Dean can return from his patellar tendon tear. Dean himself had enjoyed a breakout 2024 with 80 tackles and will be a great addition whenever he can get healthy. For now, it will be a battle between Jihaad Campbell and 2024 5th rounder Jeremiah Trotter Jr. for the starting role alongside Bond. The most significant departures for Philadelphia came along the defensive line, with Milton Williams and Josh Sweat both leaving in free agency. This kind of mass exodus is just part and parcel of having a talented and expensive roster, but Howie Roseman has always managed to find solutions several years in advance. For example, when stalwart club legends Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox retired together in the 2024 offseason, Howie had Cam Jurgens ready to slot in at center, and Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter already thriving at defensive tackle. This year is no different. Obviously, Davis and Carter have already established themselves as game wreckers from the interior of the defensive line, but they are now joined by Moro Ojomo, a 7th rounder in 2023 who has done brilliantly to work his way up to a starting role over the last couple of seasons. He logged 1 sack in the divisional round win over the Rams and notched 2 tackles, including a tackle for loss in the Super Bowl versus the Chiefs. Milton Williams leaves big shoes to fill, but Ojomo has shown some really impressive play and will benefit greatly from being next to one of the most destructive defensive tackles in the NFL in Jalen Carter. Carter, Davis, Williams, and Ojomo have all been draft picks over recent years, and Howie continued the trend of adding depth this year when selecting Ty Robinson in the 4th. He is a sturdy and powerful tackle who plays with violence, coming in to learn and join the rotation before, no doubt, moving into a starting role whenever Howie has to let one of his other starters go for salary cap reasons. He really has nailed the method of draft and replace, which is why the Eagles were able to celebrate a Super Bowl win and why they are so well set up for future success. Another example of Howie drafting his replacements ahead of time is Jalen Hurts, who will slot in the starting edge position opposite Nolan Smith. He's replacing Josh Sweat, another player who Roseman has wisely decided to let walk instead of pay up for, even though he led the team with 8 sacks in 2024. Nolan Smith was next best at 6.5, and Jalen Hurts will be hoping to rival his teammate for the most sacks in 2025, having now been made a starter. Hunt joined the Eagles as a 3rd rounder in 2024, notching 1.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in limited game time as a rookie, before contributing 1.5 sacks in the postseason as well. He is a very impressive athlete, standing at 6'3", 252 pounds, and displaying impressive bend and movement skills for someone of his size. Hunt was always the kind of player who had a very high ceiling if developed well, and it seems as if the Eagles think he's on his way to finding that ceiling. The rest of the league could very well be in trouble. Aside from Hunt, the Eagles have also brought in veteran edge rusher Joshua Uche. This guy blew up with 11.5 sacks in 2022, but has struggled with consistency aside from that one good season. He posted just 2 sacks in 2024, but nobody would be surprised if he suddenly found an extra gear in Philly. The core of this defense is incredibly strong, with Jalen Carter leading the D-line, Nolan Smith and Jalen Hurts coming off the edge, Zach Bond and Jihaad Campbell swarming the middle of the field, and Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell clamping down in the secondary. It's not really fair that it took so long to mention those 2 quality corners, seeing as they had such significant impact on the Eagles' fortunes in 2024. They both ranked amongst the top 10 corners in the league according to PFF and made the all-rookie team. They were truly sensational, helping Philly become the very best passing defense in the NFL after ranking 2nd last the year before. At picks 22 and 40, Mitchell and DeJean were superb values, and Howie looks like he has found another great value pick to line up alongside them in 2025. Safety Andrew Mukuba was the team's 2nd round selection at pick 64, coming in to replace the departing CJ Gardner-Johnson, who was shipped off to Houston for guard Kenyon Green. Mukuba is currently listed as the backup to Sidney Brown for the strong safety position, but don't be surprised to see this change quickly, as he is a high IQ defender who has a knack for finding the ball. Dane Brugler included a quote from defensive coordinator Brent Venables that simply said Mukuba was easy to coach and cold-blooded on the field. He came up with 5 interceptions in his senior season for Texas, showcasing his abilities as a player who can quickly process what is coming his way, whether that's in coverage or as a run defender. He is slightly undersized at 6 foot, 190 pounds, but it's fair to say he's never let that bother him. Mukuba looks like the next great rookie addition to this Eagles secondary, ready to deliver for the defensive genius that is Vic Fangio. Fangio's return in 2025 is an underrated part of this offseason for Philly. Much like Spagnuolo in Kansas City, Fangio's head coaching days are likely behind him, which is incredible news for Philadelphia. Continuity in scheme and coaching can go a long way in elevating the defense as a whole, and when you combine that with Fangio's quality and Howie's drafting ability, Philly should be delivering elite-level defense for years to come. Elsewhere in the draft, Smile Munden offers more intriguing value to the linebacker room as a 5th rounder, and Mac McWilliams adds more depth to the secondary. Both are handy players who should be contributing in the next year or so when you consider where they have landed. Factoring in these guys, you have the first 5 selections of the 2025 draft class going on defense for Philly, which should come as no surprise considering that this is where most of the veteran departures came from. Offensively, the draft brought in depth pieces for the O-line in center Drew Kendall, tackle Miles Hinton, and guard Cameron Williams. Kyle McCord then joined the team as a 6th-round quarterback selection, hopefully slotting behind Jalen Hurts and Tanner McKee to develop into a useful backup or trade asset. Of course, from an offensive perspective, there was very little work that needed to be done. The Eagles were the 7th best offense in 2024, boasting a very impressive 179.3 rushing yards per game, which was 2nd best in the league and 25 yards better than Washington in 3rd place. This was largely due to Saquon Barkley, the other golden ticket in Howie Roseman's 2024 free agent class, alongside Zach Bond, who destroyed opponents all year long, becoming just the 9th player in NFL history to rush for over 2,000 yards in a season. He then collected a ridiculous 499 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground in the playoffs to cap off one of the greatest running back seasons of all time, deservedly earning himself a Super Bowl ring to celebrate alongside his Offensive Player of the Year award. Frankly, Barkley was so dominant that Hurts and the pass catchers were barely needed, with both A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith turning in comfortably their lowest yardage total since Brown joined the team in 2022. Still, we know that they can confidently make a claim as one of the very best wide receiver duos in the NFL. AJ has truly rare route running ability for someone of his size, and Smith is as precise, tough, reliable, and sure-handed as anyone in the NFL. They are a nightmare for defenses to have to deal with alongside Saquon Barkley, let alone Jalen Hurts' ability as a rusher as well. All in all, this equates to a 2025 Philadelphia Eagles team that is truly terrifying. It may take some time for the new pieces on defense to acclimatize to their starting roles, and for the unit to gel together, but with Fangio calling the shots, it's surely just a matter of time. And when they do, this defense has the potential to be even better than they were last year. Even if they're not, and the Eagles have to pass a bit more than expected in 2025, you can be pretty damn confident in Hurts, Brown, Smith, Goddard, and the rest getting the job done. All signs point towards this being another long run to the Super Bowl for the Birds, and potentially several more after that. But what do you think? Is this the first signs of a dynasty, or are the defensive changes going to be a problem? Let us know what you think in the comments.